What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be going over a little bit of a wildcard guide, but basically a wildcard draft for the upcoming double game week 28. It's a very exciting time about FPL. The doubles and the blanks are upon us. We actually have them back-to-back game week 28 and game week 29, and that's a lot of people actually want to activate that wildcard chip. Now, another reason might just be the fact that there's been so many injuries this Premier League season, and therefore you guys might be forced to activate the chip, and that's what this video is going to be for you. Now, even if you guys aren't on the wildcard per se, like myself, not really looking to activate it for game week 28, but this video could still be quite informative for future wildcard planning, as well as targeting players for the short term. So I'm going to run through this video as I'm going to go over a quick kind of conclusion in terms of the chip strategy. I'll be looking at the future doubles and the future blanks and discussing the permutations. And then I'll jump straight into that wildcard draft and also conclude with that. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the biggest thing about any wildcard, I always say the bread and the butter of any wildcard draft is going to be the fixtures. So let's go over them in this talking point. Now before we go over the fixtures, the first thing I want to just detail is the chip strategy. Depending on what chips you guys have left and the order you want to use them in, that's going to affect your wildcard quite a bit. For example, let's say that you guys want to free it in game week 29, your draft will therefore look a bit different to someone that's using the free it in a later game week. And if you guys are bench boosting early on versus late on, that's also going to be taken into account. So in this wildcard draft video, what I'll be doing is I won't be free hitting in game week 29. I think even if you guys have the free chip, I would suggest using it late in the season, as if you wildcard in game week 28, you can then use the free in game week 34 or 37's doubles. Just allows you to be more flexible for the future game weeks, and therefore yet again, this draft will be for a no free in game week 29. The bench boost is also going to be quite hard to kind of adjust for in this wildcard draft, so if you guys are looking to activate the chip late in the season, I'll go over how you guys can prepare for it. So the first graphic I want to bring up on screen is going to be from the ever-reliable Ben Krellin over on Twitter. Please guys, go follow him if you guys haven't. Shout out to him for all this kind of game week planning. And the first graphic is going to detail double game week 34 and double game week 37. So on the left hand side, you guys can see blank game week 29, which you already know about. But game week 34 and 37, we can only do predictions. So the reason for that is that these games haven't been confirmed yet, so no double game weeks are confirmed for 34 or 37. And that's why it's quite hard to prepare for something that hasn't been confirmed yet. Just another reason that I think if you guys are wildcarding this week, don't put too much emphasis on these fixtures, but I might kind of put one or two options that have doubles in the upcoming fixtures. So game week 34 currently has the chance of being a little bit of a smaller game week. Game week 37 is definitely the double that you guys want to target for the mass amount of fixtures, whereas game week 34 might be a little bit more of a niche one. What you guys can do is look at the teams that have a kind of high chance of having a double game week. For example, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, as well as Bournemouth have a good chance of a double game week, which is quite nice because Bournemouth obviously double in 28 as well. So going for 3 Bournemouth on a wild card might be quite sensible. 2 double game weeks in the medium term is quite decent. Then in terms of game week 37, as mentioned, a ton of doubles could happen, but that's quite far into the future to prepare for this week's wild card. So basically from this graphic, what I want you guys to take away is the fact that game week 34 and 37 are still up in the air. I would therefore prepare for the short term, or at least the fixtures that we know about, and then use the free transfers from now till then to prepare for the upcoming doubles. I'm going to go to the next Ben Krellin graphic quite quickly so you guys can pause if you want to, but let's move on to the actual game week schedule from game week 27 to game week 38. So this is from last game week. Unfortunately, it hasn't been updated to game week 28, the upcoming game week. But the information is still going to be quite valuable. So as you guys can see, an upcoming double game week in 28, blank in 29, doubles in 34, potentially 35 and 36 before the big double game week in 37. And this is just to give you guys an actual taste of the fixtures. So a very useful kind of planning tool, because what you guys can do is look who has good fixtures before game week 34 and obviously who doubles in those 2 game weeks. So very important for the wildcard, don't be too short-term focused, have a little bit of a medium-term flavor up until game week 34. Then game week 37 might be too far in the future to prepare for, but your free transfers can handle that. So I think the biggest thing to take away from this is going to be the 2 double game week 28 teams. You've got Bournemouth in 28 and potentially 34, a very likely double game week there, Aston Villa and Wolves. And then also have Luton, who have a double game week and also a blank game week 29 fixture. So that's why the game week 28 wildcard actually works out quite nicely. You guys are going to bring in a triple up potentially of both these teams, and they have good short-term to medium-term fixtures. You can even bench them with their cheaper price tag, especially the Luton options, but once blank game week 29 progresses, you guys can get rid of them. So this graphic, very useful if you guys want to use it for some transfer plans, but you guys can go get this from Twitter on Ben Krellen's page. Now I'm going to move on to another graphic. So next graphic I want to showcase is going to be from Mikkel Tokvam. As you guys will know, Ben Krellen and Mikkel Tokvam are basically the graphics I make up my double game week and blank game week guides. And this is more of an overview in terms of the fixtures. So the reason I really like this is it kind of showcases within the next 6 game weeks as well as the entire season how many fixtures remain for certain teams, and therefore you guys might target your more niche players on those selections. For example, Chelsea, in terms of the kind of short term, they have a blank fixture which puts them in the lower bracket for the next 6 game weeks, but then the entire season they're one of the only teams that has 13. So if you guys want to go for some cheaper options in terms of the defensive department, those Chelsea options might be good as long as you can bench them in the blank game week. Other than them though, we got Luton and Bournemouth with the obvious double coming up, which is quite nice, and also Spurs look pretty good for double game weeks. So once again, this graphic, I really like to look at it from an overall point of view, just kind of details which teams double and blank and showcases them a little bit easier, and then combining this with the actual fixtures is going to be the perfect recipe for a good wildcard draft. So if you guys are on the wildcard, post them down below, would love to see what you guys are kind of cooking up, but now let's see what I made. So going on to my wildcard draft for Game Week 28, the upcoming double game week for Bournemouth and Luton. No surprises here that I've gone for a lot of those assets. And as mentioned, an upcoming double in 34 for Bournemouth and a blank game week fixture for Luton make this a viable strategy. Now the first thing I want to detail is going to be the money in the bank there. So on the right hand side, 10.9 million left in the bank. So massive upgrades can be made for a certain Mo Salah and Erling Haaland. So spoiler alert, none of those 2 options are in my wildcard draft at the current moment, but I've left enough money in the bank that you guys can buy them in Game Week 30 or onwards. So don't worry, I'm not saying that you guys should wildcard and not have those 2 assets for the rest of the season. I've done the calculations and you have enough money in the bank. So I'm going to be going over this in the normal team selection. I won't be going through the kind of price points, but this is a very budget friendly squad. Now I'm going to start off on my bench, and that first player, Petrovic. If you guys don't know, he's the Chelsea goalkeeper currently, and this is a nice little pick that I've gone for from the Mikkel Tokvam graphics. As I said, they blank in 29, but from now to the end of the season, they have 13 fixtures left, so high chances in double game weeks. So I think that Petrovic is a nice little selection to go for from a Chelsea option, but obviously if you want to go for Gusto, he's also quite cheap. Then the rest of my bench is made up of blank game week 29 players. As you guys will know, I'm not planning to use the Friet if I was to wildcard, and then for Maddison, Udogie and Konza, all have fixtures. Now this might be a little bit of a regret benching James Maddison. He's a great player after all, but I do believe the players in my starting 11 have better fixtures. Then in terms of Udogie, a very budget-friendly option compared to Pedro Porro, and because he's currently fit, I've selected him. Same could be said about Konza. I would have gone for Pau Torres if he was fit, but Konza is the most nailed option at the moment. I do worry that his minutes might be managed with this injury. So once again, these 3 options are purely here because they have blank game week fixtures, and as you would have seen, Spurs have a few doubles coming up. Now starting goalkeeper is pretty a no-brainer here. It's going to be Kaminski from Luton. The reason for this, if I'm going for Petrovic on my bench, he has a blank game week fixture, and if I need a goalkeeper that plays. So Kaminski has a double game week of Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, then Nottingham Forest at home in blank game week 29, which makes him the viable selection. Now I've doubled up with Doherty in the defensive department as well. Just believe he has that attacking threat, might not be the highest chance of clean sheets in terms of Luton, but he's a great value option because of those key passes. So to be honest, these 2 are kind of no-brainers in terms of the defensive department, especially when I'm using the Friet in 29. Now the next 2 selections are going to be a double up of the Bournemouth options, so no, I didn't select my defenders by how hard it is to pronounce their names. I've just gone for double game week players. So Zabarny and Kirkes are my 2 selections. I do apologize if I've absolutely butchered those names. But these 2 Bournemouth options are great selections, pretty much the most nailed options. Kirkes might be rotated slightly, but I do like his attacking threat. I just believe these 2 fixtures, Sheffield United at home and Luton at home, are pretty decent. And if you have seen the Ultimate Guides recently, Bournemouth's defensive numbers have improved. So Senesi got injured. I believe these 2 are the next best picks. And yes, our defensive department is made entirely up of Luton and Bournemouth options. That is just the nature. If you guys are going to wildcard though, they have the double game week this week. And as mentioned, a few good fixtures coming up in the future. Now midfield department is less double game weeky. It's going to be Burnley at home for Jared Bowen, a definite pick on a wildcard. So I'm not saying this because he scored a Hattie recently, and before that I think he blanked in 5 games. I just believe Burnley at home is a great game on the cards, and as you guys know, Jared Bowen plays in 29. So great selection. I would go for on a wildcard, a little bit of a differential still at the moment, and a blank game week player. Then we've got the ever reliable Sacco, and Forshy got subbed last night in that 6-0 win of Arsenal vs Sheffield United. I just think that Arsenal on great form at the moment, and I think he's a fine selection, even though he blanks next week. Now this might be one of those picks like the Man City options that you guys might avoid for the short term, but I just feel like you want Saka anyways from Game Week 31 onwards. Same could be said about Cole Palmer, just a great selection at his price point. Newcastle at home, you guys know they can't keep a clean sheet, even though they kept one last game week. So I'm backing Cole Palmer at his price point on penalties as well, as you guys will know, just a nice budget-friendly option. Then the last midfielder is going to be Heung-min Son, as expected, another blank game week player, just a great selection scored on the weekend, seems to be playing up front, especially if Richarlison's out for the medium term. Now Aston Villa weighs out the best game on the cards, but I do believe there's going to be goals in this one, especially if Villa play that high line that they're famous for. So Heung-min Son's a no-brainer with that blank game week fixture, just one of the best FPL assets when he is fit, so I really am backing the South Korean. Now, forward department kind of picks itself, to be honest. I'm going to start off with Dom Solanke, our captain. Sheffield United at home, Luton at home. If he plays the majority of minutes, we're looking at an absolute haul. I'm really jealous of you triple captainers. There might actually be a talking point if you guys still have the triple Campsy chip and the wild card. Which chip is better for this week? Because I think Dom Solanke is a great asset. And as mentioned, no brainer on the Campsy. Then I've got Ollie Watkins against Spurs at home. As mentioned with Son, not the best fixture in the world, but I am expecting goals. And the most important thing is he plays next game week. So I'll go over my final striker before I do a conclusion with the forwards. It's going to be Morris from Luton. Now you guys might be asking me where's Erling Haaland? Well, as mentioned, I'm not having him on my wildcard draft. I just think Morris over the next 2 or 3 fixtures is better. So once again, double game week. I think Luton could do well here. And Morris is actually in some good form. So the most important thing about Ollie Watkins and Morris is that they do play next game week. I think that's the only thing that's holding me back from Erling Haaland. So yes, you might lose value on your wildcard and you might bring him in for a more expensive price tag in a few weeks' time, but I think he's going to drop in price anyways and the points are going to be there. So this front 3, as expected, is very kind of template, but still packs a punch with a double and blank game weeks. So this starting 11 and bench leave you with 10.9 in the bank. I do believe in terms of blank game week 29 and double game week 28, this is the best optimization, but you guys can let me know in the comments down below what you think of this draft. Now before we conclude the video, I want to showcase how blank game week 29 the next week will look. So I'm going to drop all the fixtures and let's see who actually features. And as you guys can see, 9 players in total. So just sub Madison, Udogie and Konza onto the pitch and you guys will have 9 strong players. And then it's your choice if you want to use that free transfer on getting another blank game week player or saving it for Salah and Haaland in game week 30. So you guys can let me know what you guys would do if you would go for a blank game week option. I think 9 players is probably what you want anyways, but 10 would be better. And even taking a hit might not be the worst thing in the world. So basically this wildcard draft gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you a stacked 11 in double game week 28 and then also 9 options in blank game week 29. The future game weeks also look pretty good with those Chelsea selections. And then who kind of knows what's going to happen in double game week 34 and 37. That's why I think if you guys do have the fiat, you guys can use it in one of those 2 game weeks. Just allows you to be a bit more flexible and not use it in 29. But obviously your strategy might be different to mine. So in the comments down below, let me know how those wildcard drafts are looking if you guys have hit the button. I'm actually liking the look of the starting 11 and bench, and it might be quite tempting. I think I might stick to my -8s though from now till game week 29, but I might regret it if those hits don't pay off. But this is basically going to wrap it for you guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you have subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for my team selection tomorrow. Once again, I'm probably going to be taking a -8, but I'm signing off for now. This has been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.